Hello, Internet! I'm Elliot the Purple Air Doofus, and welcome to Buddy Reads, where I read a small selection of a book and review it for you. Today we are continuing our journey through 13 Reasons Why by J. Asher. We are covering the sections Cassette 2 Side B, Cassette 3 Side A, and Cassette 3 Side B. I hope you've read up to that point yourself, because I do not want to ruin anything for you. Are you ready for 3 more horrible people to enter this story? Okay. Clay is following the map as he is listening to the story that Hannah is unfolding. The next story is about a man named Tyler. Well, I say man, but he was in high school. The next story is about a guy named Tyler. Tyler was a peeping Tom. Hannah found out one week while her parents were out of town, and he was waiting outside of her bedroom window and taking pictures of her when she thought she was safe. Again, incredibly awful situation to happen to her. I hate that it happened to her. Still not a reason to kill yourself. She talks about how she invited a girl over to help her catch said perv, and the girl's name was Courtney. The girl was pretty, and so they do some fake slumber party from a softcore porn movie dialogue in her bedroom, trying to catch the peeping Tom in the act. And Courtney is, well, very pretty, very nice, very sweet, but only on the outside, according to Hannah. And that's one thing that really bugs me about this story so far, is that this is all from the point of view of someone who, well, she doesn't really take the time to get to know these people. So she makes some crazy assumptions about Courtney. But that's later. Courtney and her are in her bedroom, and they are talking teasing talk, and Courtney decides to come up with a story about how she has sex toys in her dresser drawer just under the window that the peeping Tom is looking at them through. Hannah comes up behind her, and she whips open the blinds, and she goes, aha! And, well, the guy freaks out and he runs away, but, he's too fast and she can't really see who it is, and she goes around school and finds out that it's Tyler. Now, Clay is following along on the map, and he is just about to leave the coffee shop to go over to Tyler's house, because Hannah had recorded this entire section at Tyler's bedroom window. And while he's cleaning up, he talks with the barista who used to be at his school, and I'm not quite sure how that is relevant to the story, but it's like a good chunk of the chapter is him talking with her. And he looks over the visitor's book, because this is the coffee shop that Hannah used to meet with Alex and Jessica. And he's looking over the visitor's book and comes across a picture. And in this picture is Hannah and Courtney. Hannah has her hand around Courtney's waist, and Courtney looks very uncomfortable. So, Clay leaves, remembering that photo, to go towards Tyler's house. And he's riding on the bus when another girl that he knows, or used to know, is sitting behind him. And she actually kind of hits on him, quasi-hits on him, and it's kind of awkward. He gets off the bus and she just keeps on going. And he goes towards Tyler's house just as the tapes are directing him to, and he's listening to the story of Courtney. Because supposedly Courtney is an awful person, even though she is sweet on the outside. And I'm just so happy that I'm introverted right now. I am so happy that I've never been tangled in a web like this before. So happy that I do not indulge in gossip. Because Jesus Christ, that would be horrible. So he is walking towards Tyler's house, and he is listening to the story of Courtney about how she is so sweet on the outside, but she's actually just an evil bitch. Hannah thought that they would be friends, but then she noticed that every time they had an interaction, Courtney would just leave without saying goodbye. And I'm like, leaving without saying goodbye is not a reason to kill yourself. No. I actually have problems saying goodbye to people that I care about. Because it seems like every time that I do, I never ever see them again. And that sucks. So when I'm leaving someone, I'm always like, see you later, toodles, hasta la vista, see you tomorrow, bud. That sort of stuff. Saying goodbye is very difficult for me. She talks about, all the interactions they have and how she's never actually said goodbye. And then she talks about how she was invited to this party by Courtney, and how Courtney didn't actually want her to be at the party because they were friends, supposedly. She wanted her to be there for appearances. And so Courtney and Hannah get to the party, and Courtney's like, well, we should split up. I'm gonna go visit with some friends. Really? If you invited me to a party and then you suggested that we split up, I would hate you. I would hate you so hard. Huh. So they do. This guy comes up to Hannah and says, hey, I'd like to hang out with you. And she's like, why? He's like, well, because I overheard Courtney talking about you, about how you have sex toys in your drawer. And I figured you would put out. He doesn't actually say that, but that's pretty much the gist. And Hannah is like, what the hell? So she grabs onto Tyler, and Tyler is like, why the hell are you talking to me? She drags Tyler over to where Courtney is and says, here, take our picture, because we are going to be best friends forever, and you're going to put it in the yearbook. And she puts her arm around Courtney, and Courtney looks very, very distressed. And that is the picture that Clay sees in the guest book at the coffee shop. Clay eventually gets to Tyler's house, and while he is there, a boy named Marcus comes up. The boy named Marcus gives him a rock, and he points out Tyler's window. And Clay looks at the window and notices that it is taped up with electrical tape. It is taped up because it has been broken by so many rocks that have been thrown through the window. And Clay is like, what is this for? And you want to throw a rock at that window, don't you? Everyone else that has been here has wanted to throw a rock through that window. I know you want to throw a rock through that window. That's a rock. That's a window. Do it. And Clay is like, I don't want to throw a rock through the window. And then he realizes that Marcus is on the tapes. Why am I reading this? Marcus says, yeah, I'm on the tapes, but I don't really belong on the tapes. I don't even know why she put me in the tapes. And that's when I'm like, well, if he really felt that way, why did he send them along? If he really didn't care about his reputation in the slightest, why keep on passing the story? He must have felt some guilt over what he did so that his story did not come out. Why? That does not click for me. Clay says, you're an asshole, and he walks away while listening to the second half of Courtney's story, which I already told you about at the party. And after the party is done, Tyler says, hey, I need a ride. And Hannah's like, okay, I'll give you a ride, but we're not going to talk. We're not going to stop. We're just going to give a ride. And she even says in the tapes, it's because she doesn't want to pretend that everything is all hunky-dory because she knows exactly what Tyler did. And it's just like, yes, these are awful things that happened to you, but I bet you could throw a stone in a group of high school girls and they probably all experience the same things and they are not killing themselves. Then we go on to the third and final story of this section, which is about a Valentine's survey where the kids selected everything that they were about and selected everything that they wanted in a Valentine and turned it into the cheerleaders, and then they paid for their results. And Hannah did this because she was obsessed with surveys. And Clay is talking about how he did it because he just wanted to have fun, and he actually did it in a character from Catcher in the Rye, which I've never read. And Hannah talks about going to a cheerleader who is very nice and very sweet, gets the results from her. She doesn't name the cheerleader, but she says she'll name her later, so I'm guessing she's probably on the tapes too. And she is collecting all of the results, and while she's looking them over, someone calls her. She has no idea who it is. She answers the phone. Why do you answer the phone if you don't know who it is? I half the time don't even answer the phone if I do know who it is. What the hell? Are people just insane? Cats and dogs living together? Jesus! But she answers the phone for this unknown number, and it's a boy who bought her number. And she's like, what? And she says, yeah, I bought your number, guess what? And she's like, oh, from the raffle. He's like, yeah, guess what? You're my number one. And she turns around, and it's Marcus, the asshole. Oh, boy. And so Clay is sent to a restaurant called Rosie's, where it's pretty much make-out point for all of these high schoolers. Why am I reading this? Why am I reading this? Why am I reading this? But he doesn't want to go to make out point. He sits on a bench that's probably like 5 blocks away, and he is sitting on it listening to the tape about how Marcus pretty much takes it a step further than the asshole did at the drugstore, physically puts his hands between her legs, and she pushes him away, and I'm like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to kill yourself. You're supposed to just assert yourself. At first, she makes it sound like he just stood her up at the restaurant. And I'm like, that is not a reason to kill yourself. None of these are reasons to kill yourself. If it comes to the end of the book and you're not dead, I would probably be happier. Because none of these sound like reasons to kill yourself. Anyways, while Clay is listening to this story, his mom calls, and she says, it's getting late. Are you coming home? He says, no. She says, I'll make you a sandwich. He says, you don't have to do that. And then he realizes that he's only got one tape left. You know, he left all the other tapes at home. And he says, you know, could you bring those tapes to me? And she says, are they for your school project? And he doesn't answer her because he doesn't want to lead her into listening to the tapes. She agrees to bring the... Oh, fuck you. And my battery died. Welcome to Buddy Reads the Podcast. She agrees to bring the tapes to him and ask him where he is. And he says he's at Rosie's. But he doesn't want to go to Rosie's. So she agrees to go there. And he's walking towards the restaurant. And he passes by a theater that Hannah and him used to work at. He kind of stands in the marble area between the marquee and the entrance of the theater and just reminisces about the time that they used to be together at the movie theater because they both used to work there. And how she used to tell him little hints about how to, only put half the butter on the popcorn if you have the crush on the person so that they have to come back out and ask for more and you can have more private time to ask them questions and talk with them. And I'm like, you don't do that during a movie. Don't talk during the movie. It's bad. And then he remembers a time where a boy named Bryce came through with a girl and, tried to sneak her in at the children's rate. And then he remembers Hannah talking very nicely to Bryce. And he tries to convince her not to talk to Bryce. And she's like, I can take care of myself. If you really think that you need to take care of me, you should do it. And it's just like this memory that always kind of sticks in your head of someone who has given up, because that's what's happening at the end of the tapes. At the end of the tape, she says, I decided right then and there to find out what happens at high school when a student doesn't come back the next day. Oh, why am I reading this? Our section ends with that moment of him thinking that he did not do enough to save this girl that he loved. Oh, that sucks. Why am I reading this right now? Anyway, if you like what I'm doing, go ahead and subscribe to me. If you like this video specifically, or this audio section specifically, go ahead and hit that like button. And go ahead and leave me a comment letting me know that you like me. Go ahead and leave me a comment letting me know that you hate me. Go ahead and leave me a comment letting me know that you want to see more. Go ahead and leave a comment letting me know that you just want to hear me. Because that is what you're doing right now. I've been Ellie the Purple-Haired Doofus. This has been Buddy Reads, reminding you to watch your Pajama Radius, and I will see you all in the next section of 13 Reasons Why by J. Asher. Toodles!